Welcome to this edition of In-Depth Alaska. Following the police shooting of 16-year-old Easter Leafa, we talked to community leaders about what they want to see happen next. First, you'll hear from Celeste Hodge Growden, CEO of the Alaska Black Caucus, and then Lusiana Hansen. She's the CEO of the Polynesian Society of Alaska.
You know, you've obviously been an important figure in the community for a long time. And so one thing that we spoke with Lucy about specifically was just this idea of conversations repeating. And so I wanted to specifically ask you, as it pertains to yesterday's press conference, do you feel it's a fair statement to say that a lot of the same conversations, a lot of the same words, promises are reoccurring over the years?
I think that's a fair statement to share, but in this case, I feel like we're going to make change. I think because of the leadership that we have now in place, that they're open to new ideas. And we just left from a meeting with Chief Sean Case, and as a community representing the diversity within our state and within our city. And we are very hopeful, just based on the conversation that we had. There's lots of things that are going to be implemented that we're really excited about, and the fact that as a community we have opportunity for input. So we're really excited about the direction.
It's fantastic to hear. So, and I would imagine there are probably limitations. I don't want to put you on the spot, but are you able to speak at all? I mean, I know we had a conversation this morning over the phone. I don't want to say details that you might not be in a position to share publicly, but...
Well, one thing that I'm happy about is the opportunity to sit down, to have a seat at the table, to talk about the concerns that we have, and that the concerns and listen to the concerns that he has as the chief of police, and to see how we can together as a team, not his team against our team, but as a team, united as one, to make a difference, to bring about concepts and to bring about change in the trainings that they're looking at bringing forward, and the fact that we have input into those trainings. So I'm thoroughly excited, and the individuals, I don't know if you can get them here, are some of the representatives of our diverse communities that sat in on the meeting with us. And overall there's going to be about 15 people that will be meeting with the chief regularly to bring about change.
And those are all members of, can you specify? Can you get into?
They're representatives of our diversity within our city, and so they represent a broad spectrum of communities. We have the Roy, the Native community, and we have Mid-Eastern community, the Filipino community. There's representatives from the Jewish community, yes, and so it's not just one group, it's all of us coming together, the Hispanic community as well.
And this is the advisory board that we're referring to?
Well, right now we're a committee, and so... Yes, and right now we're a committee, and we will probably form into the advisory committee, but it's definitely not the community or the committee that is going to be representing the civilian oversight. I mean, this is not that. We're community driven, and we want our police department to succeed, but we also want our community to succeed as well.
Certainly.
So we're really looking forward to the dialogue, but more than that, we're really looking forward to the action.
Okay. No, that's great. That's good to hear. I feel like that'll be a nice balance to other conversations we've had. So,
and let me just say, what happened and what seems to continue happening is difficult for our communities, regardless to the community group that it affects directly. It indirectly affects us all. And so I'm saddened by what happened. I think about myself, even though I'm now a grandma, I think about losing a young child in our community, and the fact that, as the mayor shared yesterday, she will not be in school. I mean, she was supposed to start school this week. If that doesn't bring sadness to your heart, then I don't know what does. But at the same time, it's important for us to do whatever it is we can to make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. So just to summarize, you feel based on the conversation not only that you had today, but the press conference held yesterday, you're optimistic moving forward. I mean, obviously these are tragedies, but in light of those tragedies, you feel optimistic in the direction things are headed.
I am very optimistic, and I'm very hopeful. I mean, we cannot remain where we are, and so we have to move forward. And how can we do that? We can do that coming together as a community and working with law enforcement to make change.
So yesterday, with Mayor LaFrance and Chief Sean Case holding the press conference, I'd love to just start with sort of getting your initial response to those comments made by LaFrance and Case, and if you feel the actions laid out and their response are adequate or enough.
Well, it seems like to me, in my history of working with the Pacific Island community and also the law back in, I believe, 2005, when we started this nonprofit organization, because there were so-called gangs-related activities back in the days with our youth. And that's how we started it, because we didn't know where and how we could help our community. And then the mayor reaching to us and say, we need someone from your community to help. How can we work together with the community? So that kind of, it comes on from 2005 to 2012, and then it kind of died down, but that doesn't mean that it stopped the shooting and news that we see that our loved ones being shot to death, or somebody else from another community is dead by the police shooting involvement. So it was just quiet for our community until just recently the 16-year-old got shot, which is, she's a minor. She also has some kind of disability, But the thing is that I was yesterday at the conference yesterday. I like what the mayor LaFrance was saying in reference to that they have a separate investigator to do this outside of, to do this, investigate the case. So I like that. What also she was saying about they're going to work with the police department to better the rules and regulations of what they look at on how to maybe shoot to kill and not to shoot to kill. And that was the thing back in 2012 when a man was shot, a Pacific Island man was shot in Mount View by an officer holding a stick, and they shot him to death. And that's how we came out again in 2012. And we were talking about shoot to kill. Why do you have to shoot somebody to kill, if they're holding a stick or if they're holding a knife, and there's so many of officers around. My thing is yesterday when they're saying that they're going to look into that, that changes the law. This was done back in, I want to say 2006 or 2007. All from those mayors all the way up to nowadays, they still talk about the same thing, that we're going to change this, we're going to do this, and it's going to be different. And I think every year as a new mayor comes in, they always look, or a new governor or whatever face of political that we have in there, they always have something that they're going to change something. They're going to say they're going to change something, but it always ended up to be the same thing. It's never changed. So it was brought up that they're going to change this. They're going to have a community committee working with the police department because of this incidents, but it's never happened. What happened, because I was a part of also the board of police task force in Anchorage, and we worked together with the police chief back through years, and that was one of our thing is, we want to be a part of that advisory committee for the police department, because we see what's going on in our community. They don't understand the community, and that it didn't happen. So now, just hearing what LaFrance was saying yesterday, and I hope that they will follow up with that, because it's the same old routine and it's nothing changed.
Well, that was something I wanted to ask specifically about, because I know that you were very outspoken in 2012, I think June specifically. I don't want to say his name wrong. Shane Tassi?
Yes.
Okay. Am I pronouncing the last name right?
Yes.
So, one of the comments I read in an interview was, you wondering why a taser or something less lethal wasn't used in that situation. You could very easily make the same argument in the case of Easter. So, in a lot of respects, I'm wondering, do you feel like things are sort of repeating themselves because you've been so involved in the past, and now we're in a situation that's very similar? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I feel that it's the same thing. It's like I said, nothing has changed. It was brought up in 2012. Why didn't you use the taser to tase him, to knock him down? Why didn't you, Esther is only 16 years old. We have 6 officers that were there. And I'm pretty sure that when you go to become a police officer, you're trained on how to take care of all these issues and how to tackle everything that comes your way, So do you have to shoot to kill for somebody that is underage and somebody standing there with a knife or a stick of all the 6 officers? Can you kind of tackle them down, get closer to and tackle? We don't know how far the officer is from Esther, but what I'm seeing that the same thing happened back in 18 years ago, it's still happening, and it's happening. It's nothing has changed. So we talk about police camera and that body camera, and that was brought up in our community police task force. So I'm glad that it came on, because back in the days, I think there was only one camera or a few cameras that were available. But now, in some cases that I hear that some of the officers don't carry those, and especially the officer that is doing the shooting, and is why. Why are the officers out there when they call to go to an issue like this, don't have those on them? They need to make sure that the officers that are going there, they need to have all those cameras on there, and it's for the safety of everyone. The thing is about that I've seen on TV so far about Esther and about the officer, I could see that I can, if I am an officer, understanding the culture, then I would say that there are other issues, but there's other options that they could do. They could call up the leader of the community. Hey, we have a Polynesian or Pacific Island youth here that we need to do something to calm her down, or something, if somebody can come over here. Those are issues that we can take care in our community. Our community is not a community that are violent and rough. We settle things by sitting down and talk. We settle things by agreeing and sit down quietly and talk with our kids. And so if a leader of the community, such as a minister, for where the family are going in to be a part of that church or congregation, that minister could be reached in by the police department and say, hey, we have your, a family here that we believe is your member. Is there anything that you can come and see if we can calm this situation instead of, shooting to kill? And I think there's too many. There's a taser, there's 6 officers, they can knock her down. There's a option that you can call the community leader and say, hey, we need assistance. Can we have some assistance here? That will save a life. But taking a life like this, it's not right,
No.
And I'm not saying just for Esther, I'm saying for any, other people outside of the community.
You had mentioned body cameras, and that was something else that I'd read you were quoted on in the past. An advocate for using body cameras because it would, provide the community a more clearer picture of what's going on, right? So now we've got troopers using cameras, we've got APD using cameras. Do you feel as though that's what's happening? Are we getting a clearer picture of things?
I think we got the camera. Yes, we got it on them. But we don't have that where the family have access to view the camera. I think there's rules and laws that they prevent the family or the victim families to view. And I think they should keep that right to the victim families, to view the camera and make sure that whatever happened, it's either one or the other or both, were wrong. But keeping it and say that they cannot view or whatever issue it is that is going on or an excuse, I don't want to say it's an excuse, but I don't think it's a right thing. I think it is the right for the victim family to view the camera after what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, the best, if not only, real example we have right now is the Chris Handy case, as I'm sure you're familiar with. And it sounds like, in that situation, the family opted to not look at footage because they were told it was going to be heavily edited. The footage that they were going to be shown was going to be edited versus, and that's what the public ended up seeing as well, was we had a very produced version of what came out, and then only as of yesterday did the unedited footage come out.
And that's the thing, is why do they edit the photo? Why can't they just leave the photo the way it is? Do not touch anything. The thing is about that editing is they're covering something up. They don't want the family to see what actually happened there. And that's the only reason why they would do such thing. But I think the real truth is that they need to show the evidence to the family or the victim's family, without adding anything. And that's why back in the days when we said that we need to have a committee or a council committee that will involve the community leaders and a part of the police. When these things happen, they need to see the evidence. They need to see the body camera, the camera that was taking the photo, without any editing, anything that is taken off from it.
Yeah. Now, I realize you just got back from meeting with Chief Case. I don't want to put you on the spot, but are you in a position to be able to share any of that conversation?
The thing is that I was called to come into a meeting, and the meeting was called by Unutoa, Sam Unutoa. So I walk into the meeting, but I wanted to talk to the chief as well. So the meeting was, yes, there is a march for the Pacific Island community on Saturday, and it's hosted by the Samoan Council, and that is run by Sam Unutoa. And so they will talking to the police department to find out, the chief, to find out if that they will come and start the march downtown at the police department, and that's what their meeting was for. And we also had stressed the importance of youth that are very afraid to call the police because of what happened. And there's Ladies of the Pacific, the director that was there, to talk about how girls in her academy are so very afraid, the children are afraid to call the police now because of what happened. The sister called the police, and the police came and shot, her sister, and she didn't expect that's going to happen. She thought that, the police will come and escalate the stuff and calm everything down, but never thought that, it's going to take her sister away. So now the girls in the academy are ages 5 through up, and they're very afraid to call the police if something happened. And that was another reason of us meeting there. And they were, she was expressing, the worry that she had about the girls in her academy. And so we had talked about our visual candlelight today at 1 o'clock at the downtown Park Strip.
Okay. So I guess just to kind of recap, you feel like while you appreciated some of the things, and please correct me if I'm saying any of this incorrectly, but you appreciate what Mayor LaFrance had to say, but you're cautious and you're not sure if things are going to change because you've been in this position before in terms of hearing things are going to happen, and here we are 18 years later with
yes.
the same things playing out. Is that fair? Or
no, I don't think it's fair, the word. I think it's I don't believe until I really see it done, you know, because I've heard it from so many mayors that came through that they're going to do this and do that, you know, back in 2012. Now we're in 2024, you know, it's still the same thing, and it's even worse now than it was. So I believe that our motive is what we want to do, but if we don't follow what we say to the people that we're going to do, I don't think people will believe anymore to anything that will come through in the future. What I like to say that I like what they choose to have an investigator outside to do the case. I like that. I like what I heard that they're going to do some changes on a policy for the officer. I like that, but I really wanted to see it go forward. I don't want it to see just a word but not doing it. I want to also to see that the police department work with the community and gather community leaders that wants to be a part of this advisory committee, because this community is made out of the community, of the diverse community, and they don't know what's going on in the community. And as a part of one of the community leaders that we go into every year, the officers have a new recruit. We go in and talk about our culture. We do stress to them that you need to come out and meet the community, not just events that's going on, but we encourage you to involve in events. And I'm grateful when I call them, they always come in my events that we do every year. But I think there's more than that. I think the officer needs to be retrained on how to take care of things such, how to take care with people with mental disability, how to take care with underage, you know. And the thing is for the safety of everybody else, not just to look at the individual that they're going to go after, but look at who's around them. Because when it sounded like they shot Esther, there were family members in the house. And that's very dangerous. You know, they could hurt somebody else on what they did. So I believe that, you know, the mayor, as she started her new years of service, you know, I believe that she meant, you know, what she's saying, and I hope that she will carry on what she said to the community. And I hope that they will look at to involve the community in the police department decision making.
Absolutely. I think that's the extent of what I wanted to ask. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share that we might not have touched on?
No, I just wanted to say that you know, there's one thing that I wanted to say in our culture, in our Pacific Island culture. Like I mentioned a little bit, that we don't go back and repay back in death, you know, on what happened if one of our loved ones in. We talk as a family. All families, they come together. So how do we do that here? We need the community, and we need the administration or the administration staff or the mayor and the police, you know, leaders, and we need to sit down and talk, you know, and come out to some senses. What are we going to do? You know, is this going to happen again? I hope not. But I hope that they will come up with a way that to settle, because Polynesian Association or Pacific Island community is not the only community in Anchorage. And we're so diverse. We have different cultures. I think they also need to learn, besides just sitting behind a desk and to rules, go outside in the community and learn what those communities are.
We'd like to thank both our guests today on In Depth Alaska. Please like and subscribe to this podcast.